Thank you for the very kind introduction. And at the outset, I'd like to thank your Commandant, Major Talaro of the AFP Civil Military Operations School for inviting me to this Strategic Officers online course, class 09-15. I was tasked to talk about the South China Sea security situation, and I think this is a very timely subject matter, and I'll explain why. We are talking of the South China Sea. I think you're all very familiar with this. And just to make it very clear, because a lot of people are thinking that when we adopted the terminology West Philippine Sea, that refers to the entire South China Sea. No, the South China Sea is the bigger sea. It's the South China Sea. The West Philippine Sea is that part of the South China Sea which we own. Basically, our exclusive economic zone plus some territorial sea in the Kalayaan Island group. So that makes it very clear. And the South China Sea would be a lot of features, and you can see from the flags here who are the occupants of the various features inside the South China Sea. My personal involvement in the South China Sea or Spratlys issue goes back a long way. I was part of the secret mission, a secret mission that transported troops, weapons, equipment, and supplies to the islands we occupied in Freedom Land. It was the term, the name before. Now we call it the Kalayaan Island Group. Ito ako, no, bagong graduate sa Naval Academy, kasama ko intelligence officer and a pilot. Ito yung mga landing ships namin, no? Another picture while we were in action. And very recently, about a few months ago, we established a new organization. We call it the Movement and Alliance to Resist China's Aggression, or MARCHA. And when you speak of aggression, we're talking of 5 types of aggression. The first one is territorial aggression, which is the more known kind of aggression. And we're talking of the 9-dash line, the reclamation projects of China going on inside the South China Sea, and the grabbing of our Mischief Reef and later our Scarborough Shoal by China. And the first major move of China into the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone happened in 1994 when they constructed what they call temporary structures. This was in 1994. When the government complained about this, they gave the assurance that these are only temporary for their own fishermen and we should not worry about it. So the controversy quieted down, tumahimik after this. But after a few years, ito ang ginawa nila, from the temporary structure, bigla na lumaki. And they constructed this concrete structure, a 3-story concrete structure that is almost as big as laki ng mga munisipyo na nakita natin sa mga maliliit na bayan. Nakita ko itong ginagawa because while construction was going on, lumipad kami, kasama ko si Congressman Roilo Golez of the United States on board the C-130. And we flew over this area habang nagko-construct sila at kitang-kita ko yung napakaraming mga workers nila. They were using welders, so I knew that they were constructing something permanent and something big. In 1999, after we made this discovery, I stood up in Congress more than 14 years ago, and I delivered a privileged speech. And in that privileged speech, when I talked about Mischief Reef, yung ongoing construction sa Mischief Reef, I made a prediction. Nasabi ko, Scarborough Shoal is part of China's military projection at the South China Sea. Nung sinabi ko yan, medyo iba, alarmist daw si Congressman Golez, hindi sila naniwala. And of course, we all know what happened sa Scarborough Shoal. Scarborough Shoal, and pagdating sa Scarborough Shoal, what some people call small rocks, no? Some people sabi na, small rocks lang yan, mga bato lang yan sa gitna ng dagat, pinag-aawayan natin. So why fight over small rocks? They try to diminish the value of these small rocks, but we all know what we can do with small rocks, we in the military. Why fight over small rocks? You know, in warfare and in politics, the potential force of a territory is not necessarily proportionate to the size of the territory. For example, ito, nakatayo ako rito, I may be occupying 1 square meter. But if I hold a long-range sniper rifle, I can control several, a much bigger area, maybe 1 hectare or even bigger, and nobody can move inside that radius. Depende kung anong gamit mo. In other words, it depends on how well one can project power, gain access to a bigger objective, or conversely, prevent access or deny access using that piece of territory, however small. And I'd like to recall how the Pacific War was conducted during the Second World War. Ito yung Pacific area doon. Yung forces ni General MacArthur combined with the forces of the US Navy under Admiral Nimitz went island hopping. Malilit na mga islands, malilit na mga features until the forces reached the Philippines and eventually mainland Japan. Malilit lang yung mga pinag-aawayan doon, small rocks. And that's why we cannot dismiss Scarborough Shoal as a small rock. Incidentally, Scarborough Shoal, kung titingnan mo kung gaano kalaki ito, no? It has an area, the lagoon inside. Ito, yung lagoon inside has an area of about 150 square kilometers. How big is 150 square kilometers? Kasi laki ng Quezon City. So imagine the forces that you can put inside an area as big as Quezon City. Kaya hindi maliit ang Scarborough Shoal. Missiles can be installed there, for example, which can reach targets in Central Luzon, Metro Manila, and Southern Tagalog in just a few minutes. If it is militarized, and I have no doubt that the objective, unless they're stopped of China, is to militarize Scarborough Shoal, it can serve as an unsinkable aircraft carrier. It can serve as a big naval base. On the eve of the Battle of Leyte, on the eve of the landing of the Allied forces in Leyte, the US Navy used the small feature called Ulithi, about 1,000 nautical miles from the Philippines. Ang size nito is about 3 times the size of Scarborough Shoal. Parang maliit lang, no? But look at what they were able to put inside the lagoon of Ulithi. Mga aircraft carrier, mga battleships, transport ships, to aircraft carrier, battleships, destroyers, etc., etc. They were able to put the entire third fleet of Admiral Halsey on the eve of the Battle of Leyte. Yan ang Ulithi, ito yung Baho de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal. China grabbed Scarborough Shoal in April 2012. Kaya ngayon, andyan yung mga maritime surveillance ships nila, Coast Guard ships to prevent our own units from entering, including our fishing boats. Kaya kawawa yung mga fishermen natin from Zambales and also Pangasinan, their livelihood for maybe hundreds of years, biglang nawala. Nahirapan na sila ngayon. And look at Scarborough Shoal with respect to Luzon. It is like a dagger pointed at the heartland of Luzon. Very close, about 130 nautical miles from Palawi in Zambales, and very close to our major economic and military installations like Subic, Clark, Metro Manila, and Calabarzon. Yung mga fishing boats natin, nagkakaroon ng problema doon. Meron ka parang cat and mouse battle going on. And here's a video made by some fishermen there and broadcast by Japanese television. Ito ang nangyayari doon ngayon, no?
一方こちらは FNN が独自入手した映像です。南シナ海のスカボロー礁で今年4月、中国当局の船がフィリピンの漁船団に高圧放水を執拗に浴びせ、船体や漁の道具などを破壊する様子が映されています。中国側による威嚇行為がエスカレートする
So yun ang nangyayari doon. Mga fishermen natin, hinahabol ng mga big Chinese Coast Guard ships, and they're being harassed with the water cannons. And in fact, some fishermen, in one of the rallies that we held in front of the Chinese consulate, some fishermen reported na may iba namatay na sa kanila, naludod na ron. Imagine, yung water hose nila, ang lalaki. Kaya pag tinamaan yung maliit na fishing boat, sigurado, babaliktad yan. So, ito yung projection dito that China will militarize the artificial islands. Ito ang projection nila. Now, what are they trying to do in the South China Sea? I attended a meeting of strategic experts in Japan, international, from Japan, from Australia, from the US, and all of us concluded that what we're trying to do is to form a strategic triangle in the South China Sea. The first point of the strategic triangle is already existing. This is in the Paracel Islands. Paracel, north of the Calayan Island Group. The second point is that one that is already ongoing. Ongoing na. Ito, yung construction ng Fiery Cross, ng South, kulang ng battery ito, ng South China Sea, dito sa Johnson South Reef. And the third point, dito sa Scarborough Shoal. Hindi pa yan. Ito pala ginagawa. So, Johnson South Reef, Fiery Cross, and Mischief Reef. Yan yung strategic triangle. And the moment na complete nila yung strategic triangle na yan, and we are military men here, and we understand the consequence of this. Pag nagawa nila yan, makukontrol nila yung buong South China Sea. Para ka nasa loob ng Camp Aguinaldo, lahat ng major corners dito, may mga puwersa ka na. So pati yung mga nasa gitna, kontrolado mo na. 2013, nag-start yung kanilang reclamation sa South China Sea. Ito, 2013. Ito yung mga reclamation areas nila, no? One of them, Mischief Reef, inside our exclusive economic zone. Yung iba nasa labas, but very close to our exclusive economic zone, which is 200 nautical miles from our coastline. Yung isa-isahin ko ito, no? The major ones. Look at how fast they've been working. February 2013, ito yung Johnson South Reef. Ito lang yan. Maliit na struktura. But in just about 1 year, ang laki na na-reclaim nila, and it is now coming out like this. Ito naman yung Hughes Reef. Puro dagat yan. In about 2 years, ito na. Kompleto na. Ito naman yung Quarteron. Ganun din, puro dagat. Ito yung maliit na structure nila. Now, it is a big structure in just about 1 year. Cape and Reef, ganun din, no? Ito, una dagat, tapos palaki ng palaki, and then this is the reclaimed area that they have. Fiery Cross, which is one of the major reclamation projects. Dati, puro dagat nito. Now, this is what they have. And what is very worrisome is this structure. This is a 3,000 meter structure which will serve as a runway. Ito naman sa Subi. Subi, ito dati puro dagat. Now, look at this. They have completed this. And this is also projected to have a 3,000 meter runway, which is a little shorter than the runway that we have in the NAIA area. At ito yung sa loob ng ating exclusive economic zone. Dati puro dagat. Now they have reclaimed this part. And dito may projection rin na gagawa sila ng runway din yan. No? Ito yung ginawa nila, dati yan lang yan. Look how many times that area has become in just a short period of time. Pag nangyari yan, the moment they complete that, magkakaroon sila ng operating radius dito. As far as maybe about 1,500 kilometers, maybe longer, depending on the kind of aircraft that they're going to deploy there. Pag nagawa nila yan, yung airstrip nila, they can accommodate and deploy all military aircraft in their inventory. Fighters, bombers, even UAVs,